Welcome to the Network Build Grow podcast, the show where business owners, entrepreneurs, and professionals share their stories, lessons learned, and powerful strategies for building relationships and growing their circle of influence. With Melissa Taylor, your host, each week we'll bring you actionable insights to help you build a better network and a better business. Let's dive in.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Network Build Grow podcast. We have Chris Vaughan with us here today. I've known Chris for years now. It's been quite a ride. Welcome, Chris.
Thanks, Melissa. Excited to be here.
Yeah, so excited to have you. So tell me, first, let's tell everybody a little bit about what you do, because it's so fascinating to me, all the different things that you do.
Okay, so I know I'll say you call me your yes man, and that's pretty much because I'm always like there's a solution to a problem. Trying to explain what I do, my wife just says, he does consulting. She has a hard time explaining because there is a variety of things, but mostly what I'm focused in on is kind of how your business is trying to grow from a strategy standpoint, with a focus on how technology fits into it. So I'm not getting into the IT of, which computer should you choose or which routers and security systems. It's more of how does the software fit your flows and processes, and what does this look like as you're trying to grow your business over the next 3 to 5 years. And so a lot of what we do is connecting softwares together and then building custom softwares, because there's a lot of great options out there, but they all serve like 85% of what you want the software to do for you. And sometimes your business just needs something a little unique that either requires another dashboard or maybe a whole special dedicated platform for it. So a lot of software development is a big focus of what we do.
Yeah, I love that. And you're exactly right. Every time I call you, I'm like, Chris, can we do this or can we do that? And you're like, sure, we can do anything, which just depends on how much you want to spend and how long you want it to take. So yeah, I love that. So why did you get into this? Like, what was kind of the impetus that really got you to really into this kind of work?
I think everything we do in life, you can look back and you can see things that you were successful at, things you weren't. Everything's a lesson that you can pull from and learn from. And deep down, I've always been passionate about software and playing on computers. I remember in the 90s, having a gateway computer and playing around with software and the floppy disks and everything with it. And then
showing your age there, Chris.
Yeah, I know I am a little bit. But if people tell me I have a baby face, I probably need to let them know I am a little older than, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Still have all your hair,
Yeah, that's right. I think that I've always enjoyed playing with it and having fun with it. And I taught math and logistics for 10 years. Realized at some point I didn't want to be a full-time teacher. I enjoyed the kids, but I wanted something that was a different challenge each day. And I did see, great respect to everyone that's a teacher and does it for 30 years. But I think they can all say that over time, as they get towards those 20 to 30 year range, the connection they have with the students is different than it was the first 10 years that they were teaching. I would say for the vast majority of them. And I just decided I wanted to do kind of education in a different environment. And so I went back to school, got my MBA, and started a business doing consulting, mostly with focused on placements and headhunting and recruiting. And I'm just not the person that enjoys calling people up every day and asking if they like their job and if they want to go from one place to the other. I enjoy the problem solving. I enjoy the puzzle pieces that go with it. And just as software and technology has advanced, it just made it a lot easier to kind of zero in and focus on, hey, this is really an area where we can see businesses grow and we can solve a lot of problems for entrepreneurs and even, Fortune 500 companies that are just stuck in ruts where they just don't realize where little things can change how much time they're having to spend on reports or data. And that's kind of what got me into it, was wanting to be able to be more of a problem solver and thinking of that strategic side of how does this help your business long term.
Okay, so that begs the question, because I'm sure all the listeners are wondering, how is AI affecting your business?
Oh, it's crazy. And I will
I
say
bet.
that 4 or 5 years ago,
Hmm.
I would tell my son, hey, let's do some coding courses. Let's teach you how to do some stuff. And I will, as a developer, I will tell you right now, I'm telling him not that. It is kind of an interesting thing. I'm shifting that because there's so much changing in the AI world that I could see down the line. It's not there yet. They're making improvements, but down the line, it's going to change the way software development is done. Whereas the people in the trades, like I'm wanting him to learn how to do some of the stuff that's out there in the field, some of the stuff that people like plumbing, how to fix cars, how to I want him to get his hands dirty a little more, just because I think it's going to be a lot longer for AI to replace some of that. But I
Hmm.
mean, it has already changed in the last couple years how, as developers, we're able to troubleshoot and find problems with software and APIs and things that would take us 40, 50 hours we can do in 10 now,
Yeah.
because of AI. And so it's changing the development world a lot.
Hmm.
But I think most of it is you're going to have a lot of people who understand big picture development, how it works, and they understand how to troubleshoot what the prompt is doing and what the AI is doing. There's a lot of things AI can't fix. You can bang your head against the wall and say, fix this, and it doesn't understand it. But if you know coding, you can go in and, all right, here's the problem. I'm looking at the console and this is what
Yeah.
it's not doing. And so once you can start to gear it the right way, it's picking that up. But I mean,
Yeah.
I could easily see in a few years it changing the development world a lot.
Yeah. Absolutely. But now what AI can't fix is it can't develop relationships for you. It
That's
can't
true.
network for you.
It's
So
true.
tell me how networking has played a part in your business.
Networking's always been a vital part of it. And I'll tell you, things that I've learned over the years, being someone that always wanted to solve a problem,
Hmm.
I did always say yes to stuff. And I will say there was a time that hurt my business
Hmm.
where I felt like, oh yeah, we can solve that problem. We can do that. And I think when you try to be the yes man outside of your verticals, you can sometimes hamper relationships with other people, because they feel like you might be stepping on their toes, or kind of trying to like take business from them. I mean, we had an area of focus years ago where we were saying we could be your entire back office. Well, once you start taking that approach and you say, oh yeah, we can help you with your bookkeeping, or we can help you with this, you lose some of those relationships, with key strategic partners. And so as I've kind of zeroed in and focused in on more of my passions and what I enjoy with our business, just networking and building relationships with people in other verticals,
Hmm.
is huge. You get leads from people because they realize, hey, you're not trying to pitch something else to them. You're
Yeah.
trying to work together as a team. And I'm very big on relationships as far as working together. I am happy to work with people that are in a business, or even bringing in third parties all the time to make sure that we provide the right results. And I think that when you take that approach, building a strong network and having different people that you can bounce ideas off of, it just makes things a lot better for clients that you're working with down the line.
Yeah, I know that you, for one person in my network, has a lot of strategic business alliances,
Mhm.
and that's exactly what you're talking about. Is other businesses that work with the same type of clients that you work with,
Yeah,
where you guys can come together and solve the problem for the client collectively.
yeah,
That
it
it's
helps a lot.
huge.
It helps
Hmm.
a lot.
It's huge. So tell me, what when you go out networking, and obviously you're looking for those strategic business alliances. You're, obviously still also looking for clients, but what is something that when you go to an event or you go to a social event or you're out there networking, what is kind of that one thing that like a best practice that you think is something people should know?
It I am People that know me well are always shocked when I say I'm an introvert. Because when I'm in a group, like if it's just you and me, we're going to talk for hours, right? We could go on and talk for, and my friends, we're going to have good conversations. But when I go into a place where I don't recognize anyone or know anyone, I can clam up big time. And it's just my natural.
I would never guess that.
No, I know it, but I am not someone that like, I have to work at that. So it is a situation that when I get done, if I'm at conferences and presenting or whatever, and I meet a whole bunch of people, I'm ready to go back to that hotel room or get back home and just have like veg out time, right? Because it's just, I've been peopled out, so to speak.
Peopled out.
So I have to kind of build it up a little bit in my mind and just remember, like, when, I'm going somewhere, there's going to be a bunch of people I don't know. And I just have to, put that hand out and say, hey, how's it going? And I just don't try to sell anything when I go to networking. I don't even try to really talk about what my business is. I don't even take business cards with me, to be honest with you, when I go somewhere. And I know that's not typical best practice, but my thing is so much on trying to just make myself say hi to the person and just kind of start the relationship. And then if they give me their business card, making sure that I take it and put it into my, my contact list and send a follow-up email. And so I try to build more of that relationship after the first touch, after the contact. And for me, it's just getting that first contact and not being focused on what we're doing or what I'm doing, trying to learn something about their business, so that when I talk to them later, I know a little bit about them as a person or a little bit about them as a business, so that it makes it easier for me to have that conversation flow.
If you network for your business, you already know follow-up is everything when it comes to growing relationships and driving success. But here's the thing. Most of us want to follow up well. We just get stuck. Staying consistent, keeping it personal, making it stand out, it's hard. That's why I use NetEffect.io. It makes follow-up simple, cuts through all the noise, and helps me stay on top of every relationship without dropping the ball. I never miss a follow-up, and honestly, my network wouldn't be the same without it. So check it out, NetEffect.io. And right now, you can use promo code NBG50 for 50% off of your first month. NetEffect.io, your secret weapon to unforgettable follow-up. Okay, so what do you think is a mistake that people make when they go networking?
I think I made this mistake early on. It was going networking thinking you're going to find business.
Yeah.
And I went into every networking group when I was early on and was always trying to pitch, was always trying to sell who I was, what I was doing. And when you're in my field, you can go into a lot of networking groups and people understand. They go, oh, I don't like the way my software works, or I don't like this CRM, or it's just kind of banging my head. But there's so much involved in what we do that you can't condense it into 60 seconds as an elevator pitch for how you can pitch somebody and help somebody. And now maybe if you're, a painting company, or if you're, an auto detailer, you can easily tell people what you can do and they get it. But most likely they're not needing your service that day.
Right.
Yeah. So, it's, I think, just not going in and being focused on you, but truly trying to listen and trying to hear what other people have to say. I think there's a lot of people that go in and think that I need to talk to 100 people in this big event. And if I do that, I'll get X percentage of them to buy my product that day or two. And I think it's a problem. And I've seen it affect my business early on, but I also know when you are always on, when you are always trying to sell, it affects not only your business, it affects your home life, it affects your relationships with friends. You start to create that stigma of, oh, that's the person that's just always looking for the next sell. And it affects friendships down the line.
Yeah, it really does. And that includes referrals.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people that are constantly asking me for a referral. And I'm like, dude, I don't know you very well yet.
Yeah.
So stop asking me for a referral until I get to know you better. So, with that in mind, like, what do you do to add value and to, kind of develop that relationship before you ask for like a referral or anything? What are some good things that you do to add that value?
Yeah. I just, because I am in that consulting space, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's, I want to know about someone's business to begin with. I want to know what they're doing, what their pain points are, what their problems are. And I will say that when you're in a professional service field, especially where you're charging by the hour or blocks of hours or whatever it is. It is sometimes hard to figure out what is the value you're going to provide in order to build a relationship. Where does just the advice and the conversation end, and where does the business part of the relationship begin?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That can be a very touchy.
Where's that line? Yeah. Where's that line?
Yeah. And so, I mean, I just try to, over the years, kind of say, hey, I'm going to set up some processes where I'm going to have some consultation calls. And, you know, some people say, oh, you get one consultation or whatever. I don't limit it necessarily to one. Sometimes people just have some questions. And if I'm not in an agreement with someone from a contract standpoint and they have a quick 10, 15-minute question, I have no problem kind of talking with them. If it's not kind of an arbitrary number, I'd say in my head, where if they're calling me X number of times within a week or a month, I'm going to be like, hey, it seems like you have a bigger issue than what you're letting on to. But I'm just trying to provide some value and see how their business goes, because so much of what they're trying to do is figure out where they're going to spend their money in order to grow their business. And my dad told me a long time ago, you only get to spend $1 once. So if I can't show them how this software or this API integration is going to help them down the line, they're going to be more hesitant. And we are. I mean, when you're doing software development like that, you're asking for kind of upfront chunks of money, and they're going to want to know, how is this going to help me, you know, down the line? And part of that is being able to explain and say, can see where they're going to save time. And part of it is just, you know, the relationship you have in them, trusting where it is. And I try to make sure that anything I'm doing is designed for the best interest of the client, not the best interest of our company. And I mean, I was on a project recently where we were kind of at a stalemate of what needed to be done next with development. And I asked them, it's a group of people that are together working on a project, and we're developing the software for them. And I was like, do you want me on this next call? I feel like you guys have some stuff to talk about internally. And they did. They had some stuff they needed to discuss internally regarding their project. But, you know, one of the guys said, he's like, would you be available in case we want to call you? Because one of the things I like is you'll break down to us exactly what the situation is. And I'm not trying to just sell them something if they don't need it. It's got to provide the right value. And I mean, that's where morals, value, how you grow up. I don't know how you classify that, but in a professional service, that's what I try to do.
Yeah. And I also think that a lot of times when you're consulting, like we are with Network Build Grow and with the Speaker League, it's showing them the value of a short-term pain for a long-term gain is kind of where you can really provide that value and walk them through what that feels like and what that's going to look like.
I agree.
Yeah. So as far as your networking is concerned, are you involved with a lot of different groups? Do you recommend people do a lot of different groups or go a little deeper in a couple of groups?
I think you have to go deeper. And I would, you know, again, it's just things I've learned over years. For early on, I tried to go to every networking event, and you just can't build relationships when you do that. And I ended up getting, I think, you know, when COVID hit, I kind of got networking burned out. You know, everybody was on a Zoom, everyone was on something. They're all trying to be on every possible networking group they can be on. And I just got to the point where I was like, I need to take a break from it. And so I kind of got really back into networking, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years ago, maybe after taking a couple of years off from it completely. And in that, I mean, I really only focus now on 2 groups. So I'm only doing stuff with Network Build Grow, and then one local group up here in Winston. And I'll be honest with you, I had honestly not even thought of doing that one, except they needed a software built because they were breaking off from BNI, and they wanted me to build something that, you know, tracked all the stuff. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And part of the deal was I'd be a member of the group and kind of stuff like that. But the point of it is, normally in like these industry specific type groups, my industry doesn't get a lot of referrals, right? You get a lot of the trades working for each other, but they don't have a referrer. But having invested in it in this group, that's how I met the client I was just talking about, where the group of people that are all working together. But it comes from doing more than just showing up on the Wednesday, right? It took me having conversations with the people outside of just the Wednesday morning where we meet.
Yeah.
Inviting, a couple of them over to the house and we watched a game and had a poker night, right? Like just not even like for money, just like let's put the chips out and just have fun and watch the game and eat pizza, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
getting to build some relationships with people, the person calls me up and says, "Hey, we're talking about building this." And I was like, "I think I know someone. Would you be able to help us?" And it's like, that's what happens. You
Mm-hmm.
build the relationship and you become someone that they can go to. And now I'm going to go speak for another group that he's a part of and talk about, AI in business for them or whatever. Right. And it's
Perfect.
but that came because I got to know him well. And if I was just out there, talking to people once a week for 10 minutes at a little networking group, I would have never had that relationship, and it would have never been deep enough for him to feel comfortable to bring me into these two projects.
Yep. Yep. You gotta really form them. That's how you get relationships to scale. And that's what this is all about, is really having those deeper conversations, getting to know people on a different level. And that's when that's how you stay top of mind for what you do. Because we all, even in our social environments, we get to know what each other does. So, well, I want to thank you for being on the show today, and just really love that you are part of Network Build Grow and have been since pretty much day one.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. It's been, I've enjoyed seeing Network Build grow, and what you're doing with it. And I remember conversations before it started with you and Roger in your kitchen, kind of talking through like how things were going to look and what you guys were trying to do, and just seeing the different stuff that you guys have added over the years. It's a great platform and a great value.
Well, thanks. It's been a lot of fun. We'll see you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Melissa.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Network Build Grow podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow entrepreneur or professional. And of course, if you're not yet part of our community, visit networkbuildgrow.com to connect with us. Until next time, keep building and keep growing.